looky here. A weaving I made just recently. While sitting here going through pages and pages of magazines I had torn out for some reason or another some time ago. I liked the coolness of this blue nighttime scene. Looks like there was a dog sled going across the snow. And then I also liked the warmth of the little town. It looked like an outdoor cafe and people were eating. Well, I cut them up. And I think the combination of putting both of those things together has created something really beautiful. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how I did this. First, I went through the magazines and I tried to get pages that had like a lot of one color, just to make things simpler. I mean, I really like this page too. It's got some hands holding some sort of treasures and there are flowers. I didn't even bother to read the articles. These are from old National Geographic magazines. So what I did to start to get this ready, I needed to make the strips for this. So I fold back the top portion. I do this because I want to cut strips, but I don't want them to all be separate. So this one is sort of going to be like my loom. I'm going to have strips of paper here that I will weave other strips into. Next, I fold in half. And notice I've kept that top portion folded back. I fold in half again. I'm going to flip it, do the other side, fold in half again, best you can. And I need to do some additional folds. This is about the width I want the strips of paper to be. The strips from the magazine. So I fold again. This is starting to look like one of those paper fans that we all have made at some point in our lives. And I need to fold one more time. Okay. Lots of folds there. I open it. You can see where the folds are. And I undo the flap. I'm going to turn this over. I think it might be easier for me to see on this side of the magazine page because there are just so many colors on this side that might distract me. And now I proceed to cut. And once I cut all the way up to where I put the fold, I stop at the fold because I don't want to cut these off. I want them to be attached at the top. All the way up. And I keep doing that and repeat the process over and over. That's what's happening. Okay. Almost there. Now it's important to try your best not to have any jagged edges, to cut as smoothly as possible along this fold. And I would not advise that you go back and say, oh, I missed the fold, let me trim part of this off. I wouldn't advise you to trim anything because you want everything from the picture to still be there when you start to weave other colors in. Otherwise, it'll leave these awkward little gaps, white spaces where you'll be able to see through. So, all right. Everything is connected at the top. And we can get ready to weave now. Wait, I think it would be wise to attach this to a piece of paper to prevent it from moving every which way. So I'm just going to grab, well, I have some cardstock here handy. Ooh, looks great on that pink. And I flip over to the area where the fold was made, and I just use a few tiny dots of glue all along there. And when I attach it to the paper near the top, I've sort of centered this on the page. Yes. Okay. I've centered it. So my next question is, what do I do? What colors do I add to this? Well, I have lots of pages here, and I'm not sure if I want to cut up someone's face or I'm not sure. But something will pop out at me. Aha! This desert scene looks pretty cool. The first thing I'll do is get rid of this really rough, jagged edge. And then the next thing I'll do, simply because this image wasn't printed all the way to the edges, I'm going to trim this white area off. I think it will detract from the beauty of the artwork if I leave it there. So I trim it off. So all I'm left with is the brown from this desert. And like I said, these came from National Geographic magazines, but you can use things from ads, magazines that you have at home that are old and raggedy, any kind of catalogs, things like that that might have pictures of things. Somehow, I think this part might need to leave, because when I'm going to weave this in, it's not, I don't think this is necessary. So I'm going to fold this and remove it. There are a number of pages that I pulled out that had words on them, but I'm trying to use ones that don't have words, like this side. I don't want to use that. I think it will take away from what I'm trying to do. Let me set this to the side, and we're going to do some more folding. So I'm folding this so that I have strips of paper. And these magazine pages, the cool thing about them is the paper is thin enough and your fingers glide across when you're folding. Now, easy. In fact, I think I'm going to leave it folded in half so I can just cut a lot quicker than if I were to open it up all the way. So once again, you'll cut on that fold line that you made. I must admit, this is very therapeutic. It feels good to be creating something. It always feels good. And for me, whether I'm cooking or drawing or making anything, anytime I'm doing something with my hands, even gardening, just feels good. I guess some gamers might even say it feels good to play video games, but I haven't quite found the same satisfaction in that as they may have. Well, looky there. This is not a lot of one color, but I'm going to give it a try anyway and just see how I feel about it. So as I slide these to the side and bring my original picture back, there's some things that we have to remember when weaving. We have to remember to go over, under, and do our weaving in a pattern. But for me, with this glued down, I can flip every other strip back. And once I flip the strips back, that makes it easy for me to grab one of the ones I cut, place it under as far up as I can, And then flip all those guys back down, 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 and down. The next time, I will take the opposite rows and flip them back. So this row will get flipped back. And every other row gets flipped back, like so. Adding another strip up as high as I can go and put them down, down, down again. So I repeat the process, and you're starting to see where the brown is coming in. I'm really loving these colors together. I wasn't sure about it at first, but now that I see them intertwined, I really like it. Somehow the repetitive nature of this project is relaxing too. To just do the same thing again and again. As my students would say, it feels very satisfying. So again, I'm folding every other strip backwards, adding another one, and I'm not using these tan colored strips from the desert in any particular order because their color is so uniform. I'm not trying to recreate the picture. I'm just using them for the color that there is within them. So I'm making some adjustments now. You see I'm moving some of these strips up to put them closer together to make them more even going across horizontally. Good. The vertical strips are getting shorter as I go further down. Towards the end, it gets a little harder to do, but never impossible. And flip them down. Start again. Sometimes I've even had little numbers at the bottom, at the very, very bottom, like way down here, I've had numbers or XOXO to help students remember which row goes up and which row comes down. Sometimes I have numbers, and so all the odd numbers will go up one time, and then the next time all the even numbers go up. Something's a little crooked. Okay, here we go. So I keep going again. Every other strip gets folded back. I'm down to my last two. And this is looking great. I put them back down. And here we go for the very last time. This would be the odd numbered row. 1, 3, 5, and 7. And I would be putting it across 2, 4, 6, and 8. So now we see the result of our hard work. Maybe I want to pull these and adjust them so that they are about the same length. So I'm just pulling from one end to adjust. This looks like it needs to go up a little bit. Takes patience and perseverance to do something like this, but the result is so wonderful. So now what I'll do is take those strips and put a tiny dot of glue, and I mean tiny, underneath, and hold it for a second or two before I come back And these were the last ones that I'd flipped back. These were those odd numbered strips, if they'd been numbered. And I notice as I do this, all of a sudden this last strip I put in here is bouncing up. It's loose. So I'm just going to fold it back a little bit and add a tiny dot of glue right there at the top of each of the even numbered ones, the ones that would have been evens. And when I flip it back down, I give just a little rub. Ooh, I see a little bit of glue squeezing out, but that's okay. It really only takes a tiny dot of glue to make these magazine pages stick. When you look at this guy, it is a feast for the eyes of colors. The colors are rich. There's textures that you can see in there. And I'm going to go down the rows and take each little end up and put a tiny dot of glue down. And once I've done all that on both sides, I'll then come, and I want to trim this and cut this a little more even to like the top half. The top end has just about an inch worth of color, and this is like 2 inches. So I'm going to go right down the middle, get rid of some of this to make it more even. So yes. So it just visually makes more sense, and it was kind of distracting me having those long areas down there. So all the extras go away, and you can see this beautiful piece. Beautiful. It's beautiful. I can still sort of see the hand of the person that was holding the treasures there. But it's beautiful nonetheless. So I'll get back to gluing and working on that. And as I leave you today, just remember, you just want to have fun. The main thing is to have fun. And actually, this kind of thing can help you just relax and be calm when you're making things with your hands, especially when you're doing something that involves some repetition. Those kinds of things can be very relaxing. So remember that when you head off on your own art adventures, and I appreciate you sharing your time with me today. Bye, guys.